So another character that's been confirmed for the Spider-Man game that's coming out in September is Silver Sable, and it doesn't look like she'll be fighting on our side. So let's find out some more about her, shall we? The Symkarian government helped to establish the Wild Pack, which was a group of professional Nazi war criminal hunters. Ernest Sabalanova was the leader of this little group, and his daughter was getting ready to be born around about this time. For a few years, she enjoyed some peace, but at some point, terrorists decided to attack their home, and whilst the young girl survived, her mother did not. It was thanks to this event that the young girl's hair actually began to turn silver, and after the attack, she was dissatisfied with her inability to defend herself. She begged her father to train her in combat, and eventually, after seeing some of her potential, he caved, though the idea of having his daughter potentially put in danger after losing his wife didn't exactly fill him with joy. Soon enough, though, she proved her worth enough to be able to join him on hunts, and she was trained from a number of different combat styles, from hand-to-hand combat to swordsmanship, and of course in the use of various different firearms. After her father died, she inherited leadership of the Wild Pack, and over the years they hunted down so many Nazi war criminals that there were so few criminals to hunt, and the group needed a new focus. So they became a pack of mercenaries. A very successful pack of mercenaries, and they generated a lot of revenue for the country of Symkaria. Now they mostly targeted criminals and recovered stolen goods, work along those lines. And thanks to that, they had a pretty large clientele with a fairly good reputation.
Sable, man, Freddy!
Tell me, Silver Sable.
One of the criminals that they were finding themselves hunting down was the Black Fox. He was a particularly aged criminal who had quite the good heyday in his youth, and was known to be fairly acrobatic. Though of course, thanks to his old age, he wasn't exactly super agile. As the team were getting closer and closer to capturing the criminal, Spider-Man ended up intervening. Though he had good intentions, he was trying to help the Black Fox, but thanks to Spider-Man, he got away. And this was thanks to the fact that the Black Fox did have quite the old age to him, and because of that, he shared a resemblance to Uncle Ben in Spider-Man's mind. Thanks to that, he just had a soft spot for the Black Fox. Something that would allow the Black Fox to escape Spider-Man many times, so eventually Spider-Man fixed this. And not just that, he was also able to recover the jewels, so he made up for his previous screw-up, kind of. Silver Sable's team was even commissioned to tango with Jack-o'-lantern, who was actually one of the hobgoblins. Apparently there were many goblins, hobgoblins, so on and so forth. Anyways, they were hired by a small South African country because O'Lantern allegedly was training some rebels in the area. Now, Silver Sable's initial team was ambushed by the Goblin's men, and that pretty much forced Silver Sable to recruit Spider-Man to the cause. She also plays around with both sides of the law during this time and gets caught up in some sort of robbery. But during the whole thing, someone's murdered, and that leaves a child without her mother. And that leaves a child without their mother, and that taps into Silver Sable's conscience, and she pursues the killer. Eventually ends up tracking the killer, but ends up having to choose between them and the Goblin. She chooses to apprehend the killer. Eventually, again, with Spider-Man's aid, she's able to track down Jack-o'-lantern to an amusement park. A bit of deja vu's in order because an ambush happens again. This time it's a bunch of villains, including Hydro Man and the Rhino. They were hired to eliminate those that were pursuing the Goblin. But before they can end up offing Silver Sable or Spider-Man, Sandman intervenes and ends up helping out the heroes, meaning that they can fend off the villains, but they don't exactly find any new information as to where Jason ended up running to. And Jason's the Hobgoblin. But if you're wondering what the end of this particular Goblin story is sounding like, well, he's eventually caught, trials held for all of his crimes whilst he was the Goblin, and then he goes to jail. Whilst in jail, the first Hobgoblin gets a bit jelly, breaks into the jail, and murders, well, this Hobgoblin, so no more of him. But back to Silver Sable, she also has plenty of other talents, such as her knowing 7 languages, and her having incredibly powerful will that allows her to stave off or injure several psychic sort of assaults or attacks. On top of that, bodysuit, shall we call it, is made out of Kevlar and has the ability to protect Silver Sable from bullet fire, or weapon fire. And that's more or less everything we have on Silver Sable. I hope that you did enjoy the video, and until the next one, have a very good day. I've been Brian, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.